Hey guys, this is Matt Williams with Go FROPRO or FROPRO Snack Bar, and I just did an interview with the HackCess Show. And one of the biggest things for me is staying consistent. As equal as it is important to work out and do something physical,
Mhm.
it's even more important to rest and let your body heal and recover. Don't compare yourself to anybody else or what they're doing or what their progress is. And I think happiness and joy are incredibly important.
Hi, and welcome to the HackCess Show. It's the place where you can find life hacks on how to become the best version of yourself and achieve your goals. We show you how to walk the talk from successful people. And today we have Matthew here. Thanks so much for joining us, man.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it. Very cool to be connected. Obviously, social media and quite a distance, I'm guessing.
Yeah. All right. You want to give us like maybe a quick overview of what you do for the viewers?
Yeah, absolutely. So by trade, I was a teacher coach for a long period of time, and about 11 years ago, that all changed, and kind of life circumstances got to a point where I restarted, and I focused more on getting my life together and started training and focusing on health and wellness a little bit more. And through that, I started making these peanut butter snack bars and would share them with my clients. And anywhere I went, just kind of had them with me. And right now it's crazy. If I, think back to that, it's just kind of a fun thing, and what it's turned into from a little hobby to a full-time business where we are literally, as you're calling, I was walking out of a space. So we have a gym facility, and right next door now we had a side office, but now we have an entire facility next door to the gym facility for shipping, receiving, office work, and kind of a setup for people to come in and really experience like the whole brand. So the brand's called FROPRO, FROPRO, FROPRO Snack Bar, and we're based here in Boca Raton, Florida, central Boca, down in South Florida. And yeah, man, it's pretty awesome.
That's a great story. Like to go along the way, and create and add and grow. And so you basically like didn't even plan that. You just went ahead and like your clients, you gave like FROPRO to your clients along the way, and then you grew your business.
Yeah, no, it was pretty crazy. I had the opportunity to train a couple people who knew my situation, and some of the things I had done, and I made really poor decisions. Got into a couple DUIs, and was faced with a decision either to get my life together or continue running to the point where I probably wouldn't be sitting here having this conversation. And through people giving me a chance and being supportive and believing in what I was doing, we got to this point. I have a awesome wife who has, supported me from, kind of the beginning.
Mm.
Uh, and, when I was, still making poor decisions, she was around for the very end and kind of stuck by me, and, was very supportive and believed in what I was doing, kind of like watched from afar for a little
Yeah.
bit, because she had a really good job and was running someone else's company and doing very well with that. And when it got to the point where I wasn't, I needed some help and we weren't really sure how it was going to go, she was ready to kind of take that leap, and we didn't know what it looked like. And she started kind of working the day to day and behind the scenes, and the billing and the paying and all the things like that I'm not strong at. She is really good at. So we balance each other out really, really well.
Mm. So yeah, talking about that, how do you grow your company? Do you set goals and you see like what kind of person do you need to maybe like delegate to, or I don't know, like if you need some kind of specific skills and you're like, all right, I'm gonna look for this kind of person, or how does it work?
My business kind of, like I said, I didn't start this to be in business or to do anything like that. Essentially, I was starting over. I really didn't have anything, and I was giving everything a shot. Like I didn't have. There was no net. There was no plan B. It was like, I'm just gonna do what I can. I'm gonna train a little bit. I'm gonna make these snack bars and share them, and every step of the way I kind of did myself. So
Mm.
from making the product to packaging the product to going by businesses and introducing myself and dropping things off. And when we were allowed to have events, go to those events like 5Ks, 10Ks. There's a ton of charity events out there, like, tons of websites and tons of places where you can just access and say, hey, you mind if I set up a table, do some demos, pass out free product? I'm not selling anything. And ideally, the initial part of it was to share with my clients, and then it became to share with the community. And, one of the cool things about South Florida is that no one's really from here.
Hmm.
So a lot of people visit, a lot of people vacation here, and then they kind of scatter throughout the United States. And when you go to certain events and you get to meet people and you get into certain accounts, people that are only here for a couple months try it, love it, and then you go from only being allowed to get it here to kind of the next step, which is online and Amazon, and learning how that works and learning how to ship and to do things properly. And there's a whole world of things that I had no idea about. Like, I was a teacher and a coach. I'm an elementary school teacher, a baseball coach for years, and
Hmm.
I was like heading towards the counseling side of things. And it just life kind of just played out the way it is, and the universe unfolded into, like I said, breaking things down to business. I didn't have like objectives right away. It was just
Hmm.
let's see what we can do with this.
Yeah.
And then as we grew the last couple of years, since like 2016, when my wife came on full time, we have objectives, like goals of where we want to be 3 months, 6 months, 9 months at the year. And then we kind of look as we go, we check those off and say, was this really a reach, or are we being safe here? Is this
Hmm.
really something that we could have done better at, or are we just, are we afraid of really like throwing a really high goal out there? But everything we've done, we've accomplished or come close to accomplished. There's no beating ourselves up. It's, here's where we need to be better.
Mm.
We've been able to delegate and have some challenges along the way with people. One of the hardest things, and I've, from the people that I follow and the mentors I listen to, is like, no one's going to care about my business as much as me.
Mm. Yeah.
But my wife and I are very, very passionate about it. And, there's a lot of people down here that have businesses or entrepreneurs, and we support them as much as they support us. And it's a really cool community here. So I got really, really, really lucky
Yeah.
with the community of business owners that are down here. So, we can talk shop and we can talk different things, like, without getting too personal with other businesses, and just, lift each other up and just kind of enjoy the process.
Mm. Man, I love the story. That's awesome that you were able to turn your life around and like grow your business out of this. And do you feel like, is there like a sense of competition with other businesses like regarding the same product or some kind of stuff like that?
So when I started making this and it was coming a little more serious, I obviously had some people in my life that were very, they played like the devil's advocate. They're like, hey, refrigerated snack bar, it's pretty stupid. And
Mhm.
this is before like Perfect Bar really hit the market. This is before a couple of those bars hit the market hard in the refrigerated section. And, again, like, I don't care who's first, who's not. It's, watching some of these companies and how they do things and learning from their successes and learning from their failures has been really instrumental for us. We're just growing slow. I know the name of the game is a lot of people rush to market and they try to put out a product and they try to make a ton of money. I mean, that's great. There's nothing wrong with making money. I hope to make some of it someday. But what's great is that we enjoy the process. We're slowly growing. Last year, while it was really challenging for pretty much everybody in the world, it allowed us to kind of reevaluate what we were doing, how we were approaching things, and kind of the way the world's changing.
Mhm.
So, initially it was like, oh, this is terrible, and we may go out of business, or there's like threat of this or that, and it's just like, let's just keep plugging along and do everything like we've been doing, slow and steady. Make sure we understand what we're doing. If we mess up, what does that look like? Why did that happen? If we succeed, what happened? Why did it happen? And just kind of being really kind of dialed into all that we have going on.
Yeah. And yeah, and since you work with your wife and it's your company is like your baby, and how do you
Yeah,
manage to like balance professional and personal life and schedule all that, in your daily life? How do you make everything fit together?
great question. We get that we get that question a lot.
Yeah.
I'm an early riser, so I'm usually up and out of the house. My morning routine starts at 4:30 a.m. and I'm usually up and out of the house and kind of training clients, at the office, getting things ready. And we kind of have our own morning routines, which give us a little bit of separation. So, when she comes in a little bit later, things are going on. I've already been doing some stuff, so gives us a little break. Even though we work really well together, I've said this from since she took over. I mean, she's the boss,
Mm.
and I say that with love because she's just really more organized than I am, more direct than I am. She's done this with multi-million-dollar companies in a different field, so she knows what she's doing. And then when it comes to the sales side and the people side and the engagement like this we're doing right now, that's kind of like more my expertise.
Mm-hmm.
So we have a really good balance. And I know one of the best things and why I married my wife, amongst many reasons, was that we're very, very good at communication, because when our relationship started, it was essentially my life was starting over. And I was very clear, like, sobriety has to be number one. I have to get my shit together. And, hopefully you're on board. And she was on board. And anytime there's an issue or something that comes up, and we disagree sometimes on business things, we talk about it and we communicate about it. And, we may not agree after the communication, but at the same time, we're allowed to just kind of have our opinions, but also come together to where, like, what's best for the company, what's best for this direction, what's best for the people that are working here. And, that's number one for me. I mean, being somebody, I'm up early, I'm not out, I enjoy golf and I enjoy a bunch of cool things, but like, I'm here day in and day out. The people we have that, in our kitchen have been, man, they've been with me since I started like really cranking these out 8 years ago.
Yeah.
And it's been really cool, man. I treat everybody like family when you're in the kitchen and you're out on the, out selling and you're in the process. It's, we're all a team. Everybody has input. And I think that's one of the strongest reasons why our team is doing so well today.
Yeah, definitely. And I think like a lot of people maybe when they have like business partners and it doesn't go so well, it's just like miscommunication and they don't have like the same values. It's like in a marriage, like you meet someone and you're like, you have to know if they want kids or not, and not maybe end up like in 10 years and like, oh, we don't want the same thing. And I think it's good that, in your business, you have like good communication and everything is open. And yeah, if you have the same values, it's going to work like super well. And in terms of like daily routine, how important do you think it's to have like a very fixed schedule and work on like, you wake up, you do your stuff and you work out and you do all that,
It's probably the most important thing for me. It's funny. I do a podcast called the Wake Up the Sun Show, and it focuses on routines, rituals, and consistency in your day. And one of the biggest things for me is staying consistent. When I have, idle time, which I enjoy from time to time, I used to make a lot of poor decisions. So the fact that I get to do what I love on a daily basis, and I kind of go, and sometimes I have burned out in the past where I'm just going so much that my body like kind of shuts down and I take 3 or 4 days off. But I have a good balance now. So I think biggest thing for me is the same routine: wake up, drink my water. I kind of meditate, pray, read, journal, get quiet. I have like probably about a half an hour or so of quiet time to myself in the morning, and just kind of like chill. And then I usually followed up by some kind of like workout routine, whether it's a run, a swim, a bike. I'm preparing to do a half Ironman, so that's kind of like a new bit of training I've just begun, which is pretty challenging. And then it's off to work, either working with clients, in the gym side, or working with people and clients that sell our product, or preparing future opportunities and expansion and things that we'd like to do. So there's always movement, and when it is time to relax, I love a good round of golf. We live really close to the beach. I haven't really been to the beach that much. But anything where I could be outside, I could be moving. I did the office life, and I think it's great for, if that's what you want to do. I just couldn't do it. I taught in a classroom, and in the classroom, you kind of go in and out and recess and, all these different other activities. And I've been inside for 8 to 9 hours, and I was like, man, I just can't do it. It took a lot of working at different places and different jobs to realize that wasn't for me.
Yeah. And I think, yeah, we're touching on like maybe a subject of like having efficient action and doing like efficient work, instead of just being busy. And how do you work with that? Do you just focus on like you have a to-do list and you hit these items, or do you just focus on what's important just to get to your goals? How do you work with that?
So with that, we kind of use the data that we have, so we know what needs to be, like, we're a small batch producer. So when it comes to the snack bar side, we pretty much know what's going out every week based on kind of the history of what we've done for the last couple of years. But I think the other side of that is expansion and planning for how will this look like. So the reason we're getting more space is not to grow into it. With hosts, we grow into it is we're busting at the seams where we are now, and we need more storage, and we need more capability of space.
Mm.
So I think, the days that it, like, let's just say, like, we had a huge day the other, like last week, and a lot of product went out, pallets went out, all this stuff got done. And it was really nice because it was a regrouping process after that. And it was not busy work, but all right, let's plan for next week now. So when next week arrives, we are all set. The orders are set, the boxes are ready. So it's just kind of plug and play, and then prepare for anything that may be coming. Prepare for, the goals that we're looking to hit. And, we're always trying to evolve. I think if you get too comfortable, at least for me, if I get too comfortable, I get lazy. This past summer, it was a little quiet. I played a little bit of golf. I got the taste of that golf life, and I was, wanting it every day. Like, I'm a true alcoholic addict. Like, if I love it, I want it, and I want more of it. And it just got to the point where I had to, we had a conversation, my wife and I, and she's like, listen, it's great to go enjoy yourself, but, we also have other things here, and we have people working, but one of the biggest reasons people love this place is you
Mm.
and me and us together and all of us together. And I'm like, you're absolutely right.
Mm.
So again, like, I can easily, get redirected when I'm focusing on something that I shouldn't be. And not to say that I don't enjoy those things, but I think it's, it's really important to have that balance. And I'm not a moderation guy. I don't do anything in moderation well at all.
Mm.
So it's usually, like, we're back in it. Last week, last year, I don't know, where are you right now?
I'm in France right now.
Right. So,
Yeah.
like, I don't know what it was like over with the pandemic for you guys, but it was really crazy because we had to shut down for 2.5 months, and the only thing we could do is go from our home, which is 3 miles down the road, and come do online stuff. The gym was closed,
Mm.
and it really forced me to kind of, like, relax, take a breath, get back to reading more, walking, doing things that I'm not, like, zinging all over the place at all times.
Mm.
And that was really helpful. I mean, I'm getting pretty old. For me, I was like, man, I didn't think I'd make it to 40, and I'm going to be 40 this year. But through the grace of God and this awesome universe, like, I'm still here. And I know that sounds corny, but it's amazing.
Yeah. And when you have like something that happened like the pandemic, and then you have like obstacles and you have to manage and change like pretty much your whole life around that, how do you deal with that? You talked about meditation earlier. Do you just try to relax and think about what's going to happen and make like mindful decisions, or how does it work?
Yeah, well, I go to fellowship meetings for for alcoholism, so that helps me because it's a good place to kind of talk and
Mm.
talk about where you're at. I have a couple great mentors that I talk to on a regular basis. Yoga is really big. My wife and I got into sometimes twice a day walking,
Mm.
and it was, it seems so, like, basic, but you're out there getting a sweat. It's hot here in Florida, and you're just talking about anything and everything. So it kind of gets everything out in the open, and you know go back home, and it was read, have our quality time together, watch a movie, watch a Netflix, eat, go for another walk. And it was, it was I loved it, but I missed everybody because I love people, and I
Mm.
love the people that are in my community. So not being able to see people all the time was a real
Yeah.
bummer. But I learned a lot. We learned a lot as a married couple, as individuals, and fortunately, which is what fueled the golf addiction, is golf courses are open. So anytime I could get out to the golf course, I was out there, man. To be honest. So yeah, I think it's really important to have a routine. I think it's really important to is once you kind of cross the threshold and you have all that kind of done.
Mm.
Um, it's just pretty easy to follow.
Yeah. And I was thinking about, I was talking to my sister earlier, and we were talking about working out, and she was like, "Man, you never done working out. Like, in general, you work out all like all the time, pretty much, and until you're dead, and that's how it is." But and I was telling her like, it's just the way of life. You keep you live a healthy life, and working out teaches you about consistency and patience and pushing your limits. And you talked about you're not doing anything in moderation. And what do you think about working out in general, and like what's your take on that?
I'm a big workout guy. Training for a triathlon, I have to mix it up between swimming, biking, and running. But other than that, like having a gym, sometimes I don't want to be there because I train there, other clients, and it's just,
Yeah.
it's like you ever, when you're working somewhere and you're like, oh, I'm going to do something else, and then something comes up, you go do what comes up because it's part of business. So I really like to bounce around to different places and support a lot of places that we sell our product to.
Mhm.
But with the pandemic, it kind of forced me to being outside. We didn't, our gym was closed. We couldn't be there because of fines. So I, figured out other things to do. I started running more. I think there's a fine line, and I think, fitness is a great way to blow off steam, to feel better. I have definitely overtrained, and I've learned that as equal as it is important to work out and do something physical,
Mhm.
it's even more important to rest and let your body heal and recover.
Mhm.
I learned that. I've done more of that this year than I think I've ever done.
Yeah. And yeah, I'm actually curious about that myself, because I'm always working out, and I never know like when it's time to rest. So how do you find the good balance, like between working out and chilling, even for like work in general? How do you, like, does your body tells you when it's time to take a break, or?
Yeah, pretty much. I listen to my body. I wake up. My body wakes me up pretty much every day now because of my routine at
Mhm.
4:30. And when my body's tired, I don't push it. So if my body's really tired at 7 p.m., I'll go to bed. If my body's up a little bit later and it's 8:39, I stay up.
Mhm.
But I think I've been trying some of the breathing, kind of like that Wim Hof. My brother was big into that a couple years ago. I know it's super popular. He kind of got me on that breathing and meditation, slowing down. I've done some of the cold plunges. Um, roll out, foam roll, any type of recovery, like the vibrating like foam rollers, or
Yeah.
the Theraguns that you could put on, or the Air Relax or Normatec boots. Pretty much anything that allows me to recover at a faster rate or assists in my recovery
Mhm.
is like super important.
Yeah. Yeah, even, and I know it's hard, like when you work out all week long, and like come Sunday and you're like, I still want to work out, it's but yeah, you can
Yeah,
always find like ways to like not really work out, but like stretch or do the foam roll, like you said. And
yeah.
talking a little bit more about business, like like what would be like an advice you would like to give to young entrepreneurs, starting, and maybe like, or an advice you would like to have like when you first started?
I would just say for me, I took it slow.
Mhm.
And don't compare yourself to anybody else or what they're doing or what their progress is. If you love what you do and you think it's a good idea and it's something that really, really gets you going, I think you follow that. As long as a lot of other people, it's you have. For me, I always thought, everyone's like, oh, burn the ships, burn the bridges, and go full steam ahead. But I still train. I still train to support my lifestyle, and to anything that's the business is making is going back into the business. So having another income means you're working more, but it allows for the growth and less stress. So I always tell people, it's like if you're building something, make sure you have a job and you have a plan. I walked away from a really good six-figure salary while I was building the snack bar to start training again and start my own business and work for myself.
Mhm.
And that was really one of the tougher things. I talked to a couple of people. I almost talked to almost too many people, hoping someone would talk me out of it,
Yeah.
because it's a scary thing. But it was one of the best decisions I could have made. And it's one of those things that I think it's super important for people to realize is you can still work a job. And, you can hear, I don't know if you like watch the Shark Tanks or some of the, big entrepreneurs. It's like, and we had 2, 3 jobs while we were building, whatever company we were working on. And, once those things start to take off, you make the decision. Do I love doing both? Is one hurting the other? Or am I going full steam ahead on one thing? And, maybe I don't really like what I was building and it's not for me.
Mm.
At least I have something else that I enjoy. So I'm of the do a bunch of things that you enjoy if there's a way to monetize that and you're happy doing it. And I think happiness and joy are incredibly important. And while, like I said, like people are like, oh man, that's bullshit. There's days that I wake up, I'm like, man, I don't want to do anything today, and I just want to be a grumpy asshole. But that doesn't serve a purpose.
Yeah.
So I think it's really good to find that, you have a couple of things you want to do, and you may hate your job, but it's paying the bills, and until that new thing or whatever you're starting, allows to compensate for what you're making, I think you need to really take the time and make sure you have a right plan.
Mm. Yeah, definitely. And I think especially when you create a business and you have like your main job and you're just creating a side hustle and you want to make it into a real business, I think, and taking it slow is just the best way to create something stable, and see like if people really like it, and then you take it a step further. But yeah, if you just burn the steps too fast, like you're just going to end up maybe having a crappy product, and then you're going to be like back to step one. And like with all you do you have like your main vision that you keep in mind at all time, or do you have like something that keeps you going all the time?
Yeah, man, I think again, for me, it's gratitude. I shouldn't be here. My life choices, almost 11 years ago, almost landed me in prison for a long time or dead. And I'm just super grateful for this chance. And, I remind myself every day that I'm here by the grace of the universe, and, a lot of really, really good people that didn't give up on me, and that, I love my life today. I think I always love my life, but like, I really love my life, my family, my friends, what I get to do, how much I get to work. I get to do things today. It's really fucking cool.
Yeah. And you have like a great story, and thanks so much for sharing this with us. And all right, it's promo time for you. So promote the hell out of your product. It's time.
Cool. Well, you can find us on Facebook at FROPRO. So it's FROPRO. We're the snack bar business in the United States. There is an ice cream in Australia, just so everybody knows. You can find me at MWar Williams. That's MWARWILLIAMS on Instagram, or at GoFropro, GOFROPRO. And I got to plug it, even though this is your podcast, at Wake Up the Sun Show. We just focus on local business owners and entrepreneurs, routines, rituals, and consistencies. And if there's anything I can do to help anyone or answer any questions, or you tell me that I did a really bad job today on this show, I'm open to anything, positive or negative, but hopefully more positive. So man, I thank you so much. I'm so glad we connected through social media, and it's crazy how that works, man. It's crazy.